if you constantly find yourself saying yes when you truly want to say no, if you feel exhausted because you're trying to meet everybody else's expectations besides your own, while forgetting your own needs, this video is for you. If you don't know me, hi, my name is Chrisana. I'm a life psychologist and a psychotherapeutic life coach. If you already know me, welcome back. Today, I wanted to speak about people pleasing. What's the psychology behind it? What is truly people pleasing? What are the signs and how to navigate it? So yeah, let's get into the video. So people pleasing is not about just being nice. It's not about just playing cool and getting on with what everybody else wants and needs. People pleasing goes so much more deeper. At the root of it, it's actually a survival strategy. But what does that mean? So people pleasing comes usually from our childhood. It's a conditioned behavior. Babies don't have inside of them the tools to survive. And that's just a fact. We are the only species that cannot survive on their own. We need other human to survive as babies, right? And so when a baby's caregivers maybe show some signs of inconsistency, emotional inconsistency, or some signs of resentment or not being happy around the baby and not giving the baby what it needs emotionally, the baby is gonna adapt. So it's gonna learn to read its caregiver's signs, emotional signs, and it's gonna adapt to it. So it has more chances of survival, of getting its needs met. It can be anything from being fed to having an emotional connection with their caregiver, especially the mother. So what does the baby do? It self-abandons its true needs in order to comply with the adult's needs. So maybe the adult doesn't understand why the baby's crying. The adult is really upset. So what is the baby gonna do? It's gonna stop crying so it can have more chances of having its needs met. Now, some of you might be asking me, so people pleasing is only a conditioned behavior due to really early experiences? Yes, because most of it is gonna be ingrained in our subconscious mind. And it also happens at other stages when we are teens. It doesn't only happen when we are infants. And at the core of people pleasing, it's self-abandonment. Now, if you want to know more about self-abandonment, I have a whole video dedicated to it because it's so important and it's so interconnected to people pleasing. Basically, it's the root of people pleasing. So if you want to know more, I will link the video somewhere here. So the root of people pleasing, it's self-abandonment, because what do we do in order to please other people? We abandon our own needs, our own desires, our own expectations for ourselves in order to meet other people's desires, other people's expectations, other people's needs. So it comes at a big cost because we are losing touch with our true needs, what a lot of people call authenticity. Your authenticity basically is a lot of combined, unprocessed, and sometimes processed pillars of your true desires and needs in life. Not the conditioning, not what we learned in childhood or from societal expectations. When you abandon your true needs, you are abandoning at the same time the truest, most authentic version of yourself. So usually people pleasing is rooted in fear of rejection, a lot of conflict and judgment. And again, all that comes from self-abandonment. Remember, the root of people pleasing is self-abandonment. And the reason I keep repeating that is because a lot of people don't mention that, and I think it's the most important thing about people pleasing that most people forget about or don't even know. Because when we understand that people pleasing comes from self-abandonment, we can truly understand how to heal it. And awareness is always the first step to healing any wound. Back to the child inside of you, back to the child that learned to adapt to its caregiver's behaviors. It did that so it could survive. And at the same time, Our systems, our bodies are so wise. So they're gonna do everything in their power to keep us safe, to protect us from any perceived threat. And in this occasion, somebody who's not gonna meet your needs as an infant, as a baby, is a threat. Because you're not gonna be able to survive if your needs are not being met. So yes, you're gonna do everything in your power. Your system is gonna activate its resources in order to protect you and keep you safe. And in this occasion, keep you alive, no matter the consequences or the costs of it. A big misconception about people pleasing is that unworthiness and not feeling deserving is the root of people pleasing. And while that might be true, you guessed it, what I'm gonna mention now. The root of people pleasing is self-abandonment. And the result of self-abandonment is unworthiness, is not deserving. So not feeling deserving and feeling unworthy is basically a byproduct of self-abandonment. So it's a result of people pleasing, not its root. Now I want to add another psychological layer to it. Our nervous system usually reacts in 4 ways when a wound or a big trauma occurs in our lives, and that is fight, flight, fawn, and freeze. Fawn is the response associated with people pleasing. So what happens in our nervous system is that the option of fighting or fleeing is not given anymore. So what does our nervous system does? It activates the fawn response. And the fawn response is basically the people pleasing, the desire to belong to groups of people, the desire to be a part of our community, which is a basic human need. But when the fawn response gets activated, we go to another aspect of belonging. We go to the aspect of belonging at the cost of our own agency, at the cost of our own individuality, at the cost of our own true needs. And at the same time, we learn how to stay small. We don't feel safe to showcase our true needs, our true skills, our true identities, our true desires, so we don't get rejected, so we don't get perceived as a threat from other people, because maybe some people, they might not like us. So what do? We mask. We create a mask so we don't get rejected. So maybe we avoid conflict at the same time. Maybe we think if we voice our true desires, our true needs, we are gonna create conflict. And conflict gets us back to the childhood experience we had with our parents. And then we might unconsciously think that the other person is gonna abandon us. And who wants to be abandoned? Nobody. We all want to belong. We all want to be with other people, in communities, in relationships, in partnerships. Nobody wants to get rejected. And so what does the fawn response do? It gets us trapped in this perpetuating response to reject our own needs and desires so we can fulfill other people's needs and desires. And most of the time, this is something deeply ingrained in our subconscious system because it's based on unconscious expectations and loyalties we had within our family dynamics. And that's why it's not easy to pinpoint that without the help of an external witness. That's why people pleasing is protection in disguise. It kept you alive. It kept you going. It kept you perceiving people as your community. And that is beautiful, wise, and deeply protective from our system. But there comes a point in our lives that this mechanism doesn't serve us anymore because it can do so much more damage than protection. It can keep us stuck in the same loops for so many years, For me, it kept me trapped within communities and friendships that I had nothing in common with. Because I kept phoning and people pleasing in order to just have some people in my cycle, even though we had nothing in common. And that way it gets you blocked not only from your true people, not only from meeting your true people, your true friends, but at the same time, it keeps you from exploring your identity. It keeps you from re-becoming who you were always meant to be. It keeps you from your authenticity, basically. And because this is a self-perpetuating cycle, it lowers your confidence and your self-worth slowly and incredibly unconsciously. And so at some point, you think you don't have any other option, but in reality, you do have options. It's just because the phoning response is taking over your life. And that can be changed. The good thing is that everything can be changed with neuroplasticity and a lot of inner work. So, as I just mentioned, for me, it kept me behind from exploring my true identity, re-becoming myself. What are the other costs of people pleasing, of phoning? The other cost is burnout. A lot of people don't mention burnout as a result of people pleasing, but let me tell you, yes, it can lead to burnout because it's more of an emotional conditioning. We keep repressing our true emotions, we keep repressing our true needs, and when we do that, what do? We keep on hold our own emotions and desires, and at the same time we cannot create our new identity if we want to evolve and progress in life. That's exactly why I made a video about the true root of burnout last week or 10 days ago. I don't remember. I'm gonna insert that here. It lays the foundation of people pleasing and burnout along with self-abandonment. So you can watch those 3 videos together. They're gonna help you so much. And don't forget to make some notes because it's gonna blow your mind. I promise. And then the other aspect of burnout is not being able to set boundaries. Possibly you cannot set boundaries because you're afraid of other people rejecting you or abandoning you or reacting in aggressive ways maybe towards you, and you don't know what to do if people maybe get aggressive towards you. And that's why you want to avoid conflict at the same time. I know because I used to be there. At the same time, people pleasing can keep you in loops of self-sabotaging behaviors because when you cannot set boundaries, you're gonna perpetuate certain cycles within your relationships, and so you're not allowing yourself to fully express yourself. So that is a self-sabotaging loop. You cannot get out of it unless you create a change, because you cannot be in this loop and show up for yourself. You need to decide getting out of this self-sabotaging trap or show up for yourself. Because what does this self-sabotaging trap do? It keeps you of not showing up for yourself, of phoning, of being there for other people at the cost of your own desires and needs. So basically you cannot be yourself around those people. And now I'm gonna say something controversial. That might not be their fault because it's our responsibility. We create dynamics in our lives. From what I know, they might think that you're okay and those are your needs. How would they know if you don't tell them? If you don't express your true voice? And I'm not saying to go to them and speak aggressively or insult anybody. I mean, set boundaries with kindness, and that is possible. Other people-pleasing behaviors are overworking to please your boss and maybe your colleagues, saying yes to everything and everyone, and a debilitating fear of disappointing people. If you're people-pleasing, chances are you are avoiding conflict at all costs. You rarely use the word no. You over apologize. You over explain if you try to set boundaries. The other key thing is that you feel resentful of other people. You might think unconsciously or consciously that it's other people's fault or responsibility to fulfill your needs, even though you're not even expressing your needs. That is such a big trap. That can lead to another form of self-sabotaging behaviors. But that's for a whole nother video. A lot of indecision in terms of relationships and choosing in relationships, making a decision in relationships, or constantly checking what other people think so you can match their energy. That's why I don't like when people say, you need to match their energy. No, you don't. You need to be yourself. You need to be your authentic self. You need to show your true desires. This is people pleasing, matching other people's energies. Don't come for me. This is just a fact. I want to offer a reframe in terms of people pleasing, because chances are, if you've been watching this video, you've been doing that for a long time in your life. And I know that it takes also a bit of time to untangle those behaviors, a lot of inner work and a lot of self-responsibility. Imagine your life as being on the road and everybody around you keeps adding stones to your backpack. Maybe they're asking you, can you do this for me? Will you take care of this? Can you come to this event at this time? Can you help me with this project? Whatever it is. And each stone represents someone else's expectations, desires, or approval. So what happens over time? The backpack becomes heavier and heavier. You might be getting some aches. You might be getting some pain in your back. And it becomes really hard to keep walking in your own life. That's the big thing here. You've been carrying that for so long that you've forgotten that it's your choice to put that down, to stop carrying everybody else's rocks. And that's exactly what people pleasing is. It's a backpack you are carrying. It's not who you are. It's not your identity. It's something you've picked up from your childhood and you keep carrying that since your childhood. So imagine how heavy it has become after all those years. And the first step to freedom is noticing this backpack and then slowly and steadily picking up some rocks and deciding which ones you want to carry and which ones you want to leave behind, because it's entirely your choice and you've forgotten that. You do get to choose consciously. So how to start breaking free? The first thing you need to do is get aware of this backpack. Get aware of those stones you've been carrying your whole life. So awareness is everything, as I said, in every kind of wound. Notice the behaviors and the triggers that come with it. Second is acceptance. And what comes with acceptance is grief. A lot of grief for all the things you lost due to people pleasing. Maybe you lost opportunities, maybe you lost friendships, maybe you lost ideas, maybe you lost time in terms of creating your own life. So allow yourself to grieve. There's no agenda in how much time you have to grieve. Allow it to be there. Then it comes my favorite part, reconnecting with your true needs, your true desires, your true ideas, your true goals for your own life. So becoming who you always meant to be. Becoming the person who was here all along before all of this conditioning. Then you want to start experimenting with setting boundaries with kindness. Saying no, but with kindness. That happens in safe spaces, so you know they're not gonna react and they're not gonna start blaming you for anything. But you also need to know how to set boundaries in a kind way, not in a blaming way. And then my two favorite things in terms of inner healing, a lot of nervous system regulation and a lot of subconscious rewiring. And when I say subconscious rewiring, I don't mean only creating a future, also really untangling your history, your childhood. So you are able to leave the past behind and create a future for yourself, for the person you came here to be. You create a future for your true self, your true friendships, for your true community, for the family you always wanted to create, for the job you always wanted to have, for everything you secretly desired. So yeah, people pleasing is a process. You don't want to rush yourself, but at the same time, you don't want to stay inactive. You are allowed to take action even if it's imperfect. Let me know what is one stone in your backpack that you're allowing yourself to put down today. I would love to know. Remember, your worth is not tied to what you can do for other people or to what other people are expecting from you. Your worth is how you show up for yourself and how you are allowing yourself to be. If you need more help with this and you are ready to step out of the people pleasing loop and finally live from your own energy, from your own agency, from your own identity, from your own truth, Metamorphosis, my 6-month psychological coaching container, is the perfect starting point. This is where you learn how to set boundaries without guilt, without shame, without self-sabotage. You allow yourself to become more confident in your decisions. You are aligning with your true desires and your true needs without self-doubt, without second guessing. This is also where you learn that boundaries can be set without losing love or connection with other people. It's where we explore your unique patterns and how you can reclaim your voice, your expression, your light without guilt or self-sabotage. And finally, reconnecting to your own inner authority, feeling energized, feeling worthy, and shifting from survival to thriving. If that resonates, I would love to see you there. I will leave the link down below so you can check it at your own time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.